minutes to do code in 5. 5 minutes for code? Oh, hell. Bring it, boy. Code in 5.
What up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Code in 5. My name is Paul Abernathy, your host as always, and welcome to the podcast where we talk about the National Electrical Code in approximately 5 minutes or less. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about appliances in Article 422, but more specifically, we're going to be talking about GFCI protection for specific appliances. Now, we're all familiar with 210.8. Now, 210.8 is a requirement for GFCI protection on branch circuits, and it starts out with 210.8a, which is for dwelling units, and it's talking about the receptacles that get mounted into receptacle outlets in a dwelling unit. Then it goes on to B, which is other than dwelling units. Again, we're still talking about receptacles. And then, of course, it jumps into things like C, which is dealing with crawl space lighting outlets. And again, that's GFCI protection for your lighting outlets as long as it doesn't exceed 120 volts. They're installed in crawl spaces. Then you've got D. And the D is specific appliances. Used to be just dishwashers, and that only would apply to residential dishwashers. That's been moved over to 422.5. So we have a location here, which we like to call a placeholder, that's actually sending you to 422.5. Then, of course, you've got E, which is equipment requiring servicing. So GFCI protection shall be provided where the receptacles are actually required by 210.63. That is the servicing equipment's dedicated space. And then, of course, you have outdoor outlets. Again, when we say outlets, we're not just talking receptacles, outdoor outlets in general. Okay, a point where you take power from it. So you have all these rules. But what we want to focus on is 422.5. And so what it says under 210.8D, it says, unless GFCI protection is provided in accordance with 422.5 B3 through B5, of course, B3 through B5 is talking about either it's integral into the attachment plug, or it's within 12 inches from the end of the attachment plug, or it's factory installed in the appliance. Okay, so in this case where you've got the GFCI protection is not provided by one of those options, then the code tells us here that you need to supply it by one of the options in 422.5 B1 or B2. And those are a GFCI at the panel, the breaker, or one that's in the receptacle outlet, okay, the device style. So you have some options. So you might have something integral to the appliance, and then you might not. And if you don't, and it's one of the appliances that do require GFCI protection that we're going to talk about in 422.5A, then you're going to have to incorporate that, either putting it at the branch circuit location in the panel, the overcurrent device, or at the receptacle outlet location to meet this need. Unless, of course, it's integral or part of the cord or factory installed. All right. So what are the locations that require GFCI protection? So 422.5A, it says appliances identified in 422.5A1 through A7 rated 150 volts or less to ground and 60 volts or less, single or three-phase, doesn't matter, shall be provided with Class A GFCI protection. All right, and it does tell us that we can have multiple GFCIs in series, and it's not going to change their function. They're going to work perfectly fine. It's unnecessary, but it says that it's okay if you do that. They're going to work fine, not a problem. So what are the 7 locations where the appliances, I guess I should say not locations, appliances that require GFCI protection? Number 1, automotive vacuum machine. Number 2, drinking water coolers and bottle fill stations. Number 3, cord and plug connected high pressure spray washing machines. Okay. Number 4, tire inflation machines. Number 5, vending machines. Number 6, sump pumps. And I'll remind you, this is not specific to commercial versus residential. This is across the board. So sump pumps do require, whether you like it or not, GFCI protection. And the last one, number 7, is dishwashers, which got relocated from 210.8D. So dishwashers apply to both commercial and residential, or I should say non-residential applications. All right. You do have an informational note that reminds you that you do have the location requirements that are given in 210.8 you have to be very much aware of, which could also bring in GFCI protection. Now, of course, I already talked about the different types. The GFCI protection that you need for these appliances can be at the branch circuit level in the overcurrent device. It can be at the receptacle level at the first receptacle, or it could be integral to attachment plug. It could be in the supply cord, not more than 12 inches from the attachment plug, or a manufacturer could incorporate GFCI protection into the appliance and meet this rule. So you have a bunch of options. Give it a look-see, crack your code book open and go look at 422.5 A and B. You'll learn a lot about appliances and GFCI protection. Until next time, folks, stay safe. God bless.
Can we do code in 5? Who wants to do code in 5?